In the name of Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Liberated Sisters right here, streaming live at Morris Media Studios on my Facebook page, Liberated Sister Charlene Muhammad. Thanks for being with us today. Pardon my tardiness. The shenanigans, South LA, Los Angeles, Southern California is under weather watch, or, I think it's air quality watch because of the fires in Irvine, and we have had family evacuate, and thank Allah they're safe, and we pray that everyone is safe in all of the weather across the country. But we'll get right to the show. Okay, so today our guest is Damian Goodman of the Crenshaw Subway Coalition and the Umoja Center. He's going to be joining us via Skype video to discuss the community's plan to stop the Trump takeover of the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall. Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall is up for sale, and the community has been really in a battle as a part of the push against gentrification and trying to keep the mall here for us in the community under Black control. But first, the Justice Report. So the Justice Report is short and sweet because due to my personal tardiness, and I'm so sorry again to you all, and especially to Morris Media Studios. We keep a good schedule here. The Justice Report comes out of the Final Call newspaper. I want you to subscribe to finalcalldigital.com, finalcalldigital.com, and view it. It is dealing with the very important 2020 elections. Our lead writers on this are our senior editor, Brother Askia Muhammad, of course, our editor-in-chief, Brother Naba Muhammad, our writer in Philadelphia, Brother Michael Z. Muhammad, and Sister Nisa Islam Muhammad in D.C., Maryland area. They talk about what's at stake for Black folks and what will we demand. We'll talk a little bit about that with Brother Damian, but yeah, what are you demanding, Black people? What are we demanding, right? Because folk who are demanding things are getting chopped down, some are not. It's just a get Trump out mantra. And so the Final Call goes into the political positioning. How does COVID-19 and the congressional races play a part of this? November 3rd is coming up, and this is a very pivotal election. So that is the Justice Report. We're going to go right now into the Farrakhan factor. And when we return, Brother Damian Goodman is going to break a lot of this down for us. But most importantly, or foremost, I should say, he's going to be dealing with the community's goal, mission, battle to stop the Trump takeover of the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall. So here's the Farrakhan factor.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight you.
For my brothers, we could go to war. Fight for my father, I will give my life for.
A perfect union with God is the idea at the base of atonement. Now, atonement demands of us 8 steps. In fact, atonement is the 5th step in an 8-stage process. Look at our division. Not here, out there. We as a people who have been fractured, divided, and destroyed because of our division now must move toward a perfect union. Let's look at a speech delivered by a white slaveholder on the banks of the James River in 1712. 68 years before our former slave masters permitted us to join the Christian faith. Listen to what he said. He said, quote, "In my bag, I have a foolproof method of controlling black slaves. I guarantee every one of you, if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes." I want you to listen. What are those 3 things? Fear, envy.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to go straight to Brother Damien right now because our video, we don't want it to distort and disconnect the minister improperly, but he's talking about the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. And the reason why I chose that video for the Farrakhan Factor is because as this political race takes place and we get closer and closer to November 3rd, it seems like we fall greater and greater out of love with each other over who's going to be master over the house of the U.S. of America. And so we say vote your conscience here at Liberated Sisters, but, you know, once they, even now, as these candidates race, especially I'm talking about the presidential candidates, they're meeting and talking. All of this is front show, all of this strife, but, you know, we take it to heart. And we have these feuds like the Clampetts and others and sometimes can't get back together. And so come on, black people, let's not, you know, go berserk and just denigrate, demean, and sell out each other over Democrats or Republicans, Trump or Biden, because believe me, they're going to be amicable. They're amicable now. You just don't think so or see it. But let's bring on Brother Damien. I want to say as we get him in, again, apologies for having to cut the clip. But it's better to stop it that way. You can view it. I pulled it, and thank you, Brother Abdul Qiyam Muhammad. I pulled it from his page. As you know, the NOI, Nation of Islam, and the ministers and the Final Calls channels have been taken down on YouTube. The enemy just cannot stand the truth. But that is the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking at the 1995 unprecedented, divine, glorious, historic Million Man March. Make no mistake about it. Brother Damien Goodman, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being patient with me. And I'm so glad you're here to let us know what's happening right here in our front yard, not our backyard. I mean, the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall has been so huge in many lives, and it's not just a shopping hub, right? We have the the Pan-African Film Festival, and so many other things that it does. But Brother Damien Goodman, again, you all, he's Executive Director of the Crenshaw Subway Coalition and strategist at Citizens Campaign to Fix the Center Rail Line. And is it Executive Director, President, Founder of the Umoja Center?
Umoja Center is our creative outlet, our space within Leimert Park Village, the Cultural Conference, and I say Consciousness Center of Black Los Angeles, and it serves many places, but organizing and bringing together people to focus on issues of policy, focus on issues of cooperative economics, focus on artivism. how we're able to use the amazing talents centered here in the middle of the entertainment capital of the world as Black people can advance the work in our struggle. It is always good to be with you, sister. A frontline activist journalist using her platform. Sister Muhammad, in so many ways, you're an inspiration to so many, and I'm just so glad any and every time you invite us back, we'll be here.
Wow, praise be to Allah so much, brother. And you look great, and it's great to have you, but you're doing the work. And a lot of people, while we sleep semi-well at night, I hope you're sleeping well in the Black community especially, but especially in these times, the work that you do, the team, the coalition with you, and many others that are, I would say, unsung heroes. My gratitude,
Yes.
and we appreciate you. There's so much. I mean, there's the housing, but then on top of what you were having to deal with the rail line, for us, here comes the takeover of the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall. Now, I was under the impression it was Black owned at a brother, and people had mentioned that there were some concerns and issues around the most immediate former leadership. But I learned through you all that group is no longer in charge or hold ownership to the mall. How did Jared Kushner, and we'll get into President Trump's son-in-law's idiotic statements in a minute, but how did his camp come into play here? I look up and it's like the Trump takeover.
Right. And I appreciate just being able to be with you and being with the conscious sister and the audience that can really dive in deep with this.
Yes, sir.
So let's just back up a little bit. Crenshaw Subway Coalition, as a nonprofit organization, has been involved in transportation, land use, racial justice, going back to our founding, going way back through our predecessor group, Citizens Campaign to Fix the Expo Rail Line in 2006. It's kind of crazy to think next year is going to be 15 years. I had no idea getting some of these Black politicians in line was going to take so long, and it's still a struggle, sister. Involved in land use, right, in transportation, seeing that the long history of transportation projects being built through communities of color and not for communities of color, dividing us. We have seen that work has to evolve to talking about land use in general. At its base, at every moment in our endeavor, and those that came before us and continue to this day, we've been talking about controlling the destiny of our community, controlling the fate of our Black and brown community. This Southwest Los Angeles community that I only say for geographic purposes, I still call it South Central. If you get me, get me talking. My family came here in the early 1900s and literally helped establish the Central Avenue of old. They were Black builders. They established the first Black bank west of the Mississippi. Wow. I'm a relative of Colonel Allen Allensworth, which established that amazing center for free Black people in the time of Jim Crow, to be able to found, finance, and build our own community, right? So their blood runs through me. The Blodgett blood runs through me. And it's so interesting to find myself now in the middle of this epic battle to take control of the most critical community or commerce center in Black Los Angeles, and thereby one of the most critical commerce centers for Black people in America. Right. So let's just talk chronologically about the work, right? Crenshaw Subway Coalition has had issues with the redevelopment of the Crenshaw Mall for about 3-4 years, when it was apparent that the redevelopment of the mall really didn't have a whole lot to do with the mall and retail. It had to do with adding nearly 1,000 units, almost all of them market rate. 90% of them market rate. We have a saying in Crenshaw Subway Coalition, market rate means not for me. Like market rate now today, they say a family of four needs to make over $130,000 a year to afford a market rate unit. We just had this monstrosity at La Cienega and Jefferson go up, called this cumulus skyscraper, 31 stories, where nothing else is, when it was approved, was above even 4 stories. $5,292 a month for a 2-bedroom, sister. Wow. Right? That's like the cost of 3 mortgages in our community, right? And so this is an intentional price out of our Black community and our Black and brown neighbors and working class people, but it's also a push out right? Because when you bring in that many units at that higher rate, that much more than people are paying right now, then the surrounding landlords in the area and the surrounding people who own property know that the gentry is coming, that they're coming in and they end up competing against those of us like myself that have lived in Leimert Park for 27 years. We end up being pushed out and priced out because the landlords know they can push out someone paying $1,500 a month in rent and get $3,000 for a place that is frankly not even nice, right? They maybe slap on some paint, on some paint when the tenant leaves. And so we filed a Federal Housing Act lawsuit against the project on that basis, that because it was going to bring in so many units, and these projects are called catalytic for a reason. I can't say that enough. Catalytic, intended to generate an impact. And that impact is not good for Black and brown people. That impact is not good for working class people. So it was an intended push out of the people based on what it was going to do to the surrounding market and environment, the Jays, Leimert Park. Even in Baldwin Hills Estates, 48% of the people that live there are renters, right? So those people were going to be put at risk. And we found that there were nearly 70,000 renters within a 2-mile radius of the mall, which is what the experts say is I call it the blast radius, is for projects of this size, that they would be at an increased risk of displacement if it came through. So we said that's not right. That's a Fair Housing Act violation. As you know, the Fair Housing Act was signed literally with the blood of our slain king, Dr. Martin Luther King, literally just days after he passed. Lyndon B. Johnson and the Democratic Congress voted that, and Lyndon B. Johnson signed that into law, right? And that it was a direct price out of the community because the units were going to be priced well above the level that was affordable to the existing residents in the surrounding area, right? And so because we've been engaged in that process for some time now, basically this is and has been the largest redevelopment project in the city of Los Angeles, not the region, because obviously Inglewood Stadium is bigger, but the region of Los Angeles, number 2, I think, within the region, second only to Inglewood, another Black community, right? And that gives us an opportunity just to step back and talk about this crescent, right? This crescent that is Mid-City, West Adams, Crenshaw, and Inglewood, that has been the stronghold of Black LA for a very long time, that is unfortunately has a distinction in the city of Los Angeles of being the hottest real estate market in the city. In the case of Inglewood, the hottest real estate market in the region, right? So we're seeing home prices more than double over a 7-year span of time. We're seeing rent prices nearly double over a 7-year period of time. And this has been our stronghold, right? And so we began negotiation. It is a brother. His name is Quentin Primo. He runs Capri Capital Partners. And, as far as Black capitalist goes, he's not a bad guy. Okay. I'm just going to say it. He's a little bit better than some, not necessarily my cup of tea, but at the very least, when you engage in a lawsuit, that the likelihood of victory, even especially now with the courts as they are now, don't get me started on these fools in the Senate that let this stuff go through. But we just know that it's always more certain to have a negotiated settlement than it is to have to take the risk of going to court. Although sometimes you just got to throw down. You got to say, this is too big. The impact is too great. We got to go all the way. And so we began getting some information and clarity as to the state of the mall back in about November, December of last year, and came to find that the mall had been up for sale for a while, and that the Black man was trying to buy it, and that they wouldn't allow him to, or he couldn't get his money together. It's probably the latter. And that the people who were the investors that had directed the sale, stick with me now, or the public pension funds.
Wait, I'm glad you said that.
So the Los Angeles,
I'm glad you said stick with
me. So the
Los
Angeles County Employee Retirement Association is all the county employees in Los Angeles, right? So if you get a paycheck that says County of Los Angeles, right? Then the Los Angeles Fire and Police Pension. So if you are a City of Los Angeles firefighter or police officer, and then the UC Board of Regents. So if you are a UC, if you work for UCLA or UC Riverside or UC Berkeley, that entire system, right? And then matched with, right, Texas teachers, right? Teachers in Texas and New York City employment retirement system, right? This is a big, George Carlin has a great saying. He says, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Right. 27 trillion with a T amount of money is what goes into public pension funds and private pension fund investments in America. 27 trillion. They say that the number for the public pension, just for publics, is somewhere between 14 and 24 trillion dollars a year are invested, not just in real estate, in fact, in a lot of other companies. We've talked about this struggle in general, about how our public pension fund money goes in the past when we had to fight apartheid, right? We remember that divestment movement. Wow. Currently, we're fighting the fossil fuel industry and we're fighting the private prison industry because these managers of these pension funds, they're not making the type of investments that even the pensioners, right, the retirees would be okay with. Yeah. We know that in the case of Lacera, 60% of the payees and those that receive it are Black and brown. A majority of them are women. And their money is literally going toward, and they are making decisions to literally gentrify and displace and cause harm to their own members and to the community. That's right. Horrible. I mean, so this is where we start talking about this thin line between public and private. You know, we've talked so much about the sweetheart deal that Jared Kushner has gotten from the public sector. Bottom line is there's nothing special about these people. Don't get me started on his comments. There's nothing special about them. They're simply well connected and know how to manipulate public dollars and manipulate systems like public pension funds to make themselves rich at the expense of working class people and people and people of color. Wow. And so we saw that this process was taking place. And then in April of this year, it was announced that the team that would be awarded the right to buy the mall, CIM Group, Donald Trump's closest development partners, literally Donald Trump's closest development partners. All you have to do is go to the internet right now, type in CIM and Trump, and you get loads of hits that talk about these folks. They've been operating, I like to say, in plain sight, taken over West Adams. Over 45 properties along the West Adams corridor they had acquired, right? And they have a specific strategy. They make it plain, sister. We specialize in re-tenanting. What's that mean? Current tenants out, more affluent tenants in. Horrible. Right? That means we get pushed out. We get pushed out to Lancaster, Moreno Valley, or Skid Row, right? And they make a whole lot of money for themselves. We know where these people live. They have very nice houses and to the pension funds. But in the process, they end up literally remaking. I mean, we just got to call it what it is, sister. This is modern day colonialism. This is taking over Black and brown land to enrich outsiders and at the expense of the existing community. So we stood up. We fought back. That's Many of our allies within the civil rights community raised their voice, and they were going to CIM's headquarters, and we established a collective downtown Crenshaw. We started going to the pension funds, and we said, not only do we not want you to sell to them, in fact, what the heck are you doing in business with these close Donald Trump business partners? We're going to put together the team in a process of self-determination, of demanding that land in Black communities be run and driven by Black collectives. We're going to put together a process and a team that will buy them all. So push them out, allow us to buy our mall, to maintain this commercial Black space and build a Black community for the future, right? Yeah. And so they backed out a few days before our Juneteenth and said, you can bid.
Juneteenth at that.
A couple days before Juneteenth, I think it was June 15th. June 15th, so 4 days before Juneteenth, they went out and CIM had a very unlike CIM statement. They said, we wish the community well. And, you know, every single opportunity that we got, and let's be clear, let's make another Donald Trump connection. The people who were controlling the sale, the people who have been in control of the assets since going back to 2018 is not that Black man, Quentin Primo. It is a Deutsche Bank subsidiary known as DWS. You just got to Google Deutsche Bank and Donald Trump, DEUTSCHE Bank out of Germany and Donald Trump. And you can see he's had a longer relationship with Deutsche Bank than he's ever had with any of his wives. Right. You know, this is his banker of choice. Right. And they have manipulated the process. They have placated our community. They allowed us to bid. They refused to give us the time that we needed, but we still submitted a very robust bid, a bid that that included the largest capital raise firm in the country, one of the largest ones on the planet for real estate. Like, you can't say we can't raise money. They raise more money than anybody else. We brought in 2 award-winning architecture firms, 3 actually in total, but 2 global award-winning architecture firms that built the Smithsonian or designed the African American Museum of History and Culture of the Smithsonian in D.C., and then the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Alabama, also known as the Lynching Museum. Those 2 architects at the table matched with the local Black genius known as Corey Henry, who's done multiple structures that have been award winning. We brought together our local developers, including the one who did the majestic Crenshaw Cathedral, their West Angeles Cathedral. And match them up with the second largest developer in the world, right? You couldn't say that we couldn't raise the money.
Wow.
You couldn't say we didn't have the competency, and you couldn't say we didn't understand how to engage in this process. And along the way, unlike any other team, sister, this is the key point. We were doing this openly. We had meetings at least a week, often twice a week.
Yes.
And we had a community visioning. This was Black people coming together. It was about radical inclusion. It's about saying, we know there are people on the Hill that make $200,000 a year, and there are people at the base of the Hill in the jungle who don't even make $20,000 a year in a family of 4. We are all one. We are one community. We are a mixed income community. Let's all come to a table and identify that vision that allows this to be a sacred Black space and center for commerce and maintain our community. Because at the same time that we wanted to be about the process of buying them all, stabilizing the mom and pop tenants that are in there right now, business members that are in there right now, and reimagining it as a 21st century urban village, we knew we had to be about taking the land off the speculative market around the mall so that the people doing the work could still be here 10 years from now, right? When the project's completely done, right? And so it's always been about community, and they just don't want that. They don't like that because they know it is a message that is being sent to the world. It is a message that says that when Black people come together and Black people can do as they have done before, that we don't have to have the Jared Kushners and the CIM groups and the Live Works of the world taking over our projects. We will control our destiny. We will ensure that we are in Los Angeles' future. And so we submitted our bid. They denied our bid, but they didn't just deny our bid. They denied the bid of multiple other Black bidders, right? Very competent and capable folk, and instead gave it to this Live Work cat whose projects are in Brooklyn, who has never done anything of this scale by himself or lit anything of this scale by himself. In fact, his only qualification, sister, is that he's connected to Donald Trump and Jared Kushner. Right? Or Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. That's the only qualification. So how you know the saying, sister, we know it.
Else.
You gotta work twice as high. You gotta work twice as hard to get half as much.
Yeah.
We are more than twice as good as this cat.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get that great opportunity. So we're asking people be engaged in this process of self-determination, this process of resistance, this process of fighting for our community by going to downtowncrenshaw.com, signing the petition, becoming a member, right? If you live in the community, you become a voting member. If you live outside the region, you become a solidarity member. This is about building a base of people. The $5 has nothing to do with the amount of money we're trying to raise, right? This is over $100 million project to acquire, and it's over $1 billion to redevelop. This is about making sure everybody is at the table, that we come together as a community, that we identify our vision collectively, and that we assert that we as Black people have a right to create a community-led vision for a community that is Black. You go to Little Tokyo. What would happen to a Black person if they tried to buy a major structure in Little Tokyo? Yeah. What would happen to a Black developer if they tried to buy the Beverly Center right now? They said, get the heck out of here. Well, when it comes to these Live Work folk, we tell them to get the heck out of here. Not just no, but hell no, you're not welcome here. And this is a new day. And this time post George Floyd uprising, the longest sustained uprising since our king was killed, right? Black people, more Black people are conscious like you and me, sister. Yeah. And we ain't letting this go down this way. This is our mall. This is our space. This is our time. The time is now.
This is very critical, Brother Damien. Thank you for laying out this problem and how we got here. You know, people have to go through our local politicians, right? Somebody is greenlighting this that should be fighting for us. And so where's the conversation with them? I also, everyone, just posted online the petition and the website that Brother Damien mentioned, but Where are our politicians on this? Because I want people to understand, and well, you know, break down what do we think this means for our Africa Town, our Lamert Park, um, our businesses on the Lamert Park Degnan Boulevard as well as around Lamert Park. If this
Mm-hmm.
mall is allowed to be taken over like this, I mean, I remember a time where not long ago there were Coach Eric Nall, Coach E was up
Yes.
there, and other people. They were doing yoga classes, free yoga
Yes.
classes for seniors. Coach E with Ultimate Transformation, walking for seniors. I mean,
Yes.
aside from having a place where you can shop without having to go outside of your area and being harassed, not to, although
Hey.
we still had people killed in and around that mall by law enforcement. But I asked a couple of questions. I'll stop and let you get to them.
So I mean, let's back up and even say, and there's a point I want to mention.
Okay.
Over 13,000 petitions came through our site saying we didn't want CIM, and now we don't want live work. This needs to be under community control, under downtown Crenshaw control. And another 10,000 came through the change.org. So that's 23,000 signatures, right?
Wow.
Of people saying this ain't right. Get out of here, live work, CIM, right? In addition to that, among those have been over 300 business leaders, community organizations, civil rights organizations, housing justice leaders. This is a movement,
Hmm.
right? Because people recognize the time, and we're backed, and we have experts from throughout the country who zoom into our meetings and provide their expertise on cooperative development and community investment funds and how to structure these things so that you can bring in the big capital, what's known as the socially responsible capital. So like the foundations who aren't looking to have as big a return and give you a little bit more of a leeway, right? And then the community capital and have expertise in how all that works. We brought in one of the largest law firms in the world that is experts in this, right? And we've seen, I think it was last week, we started to see some of our local elected officials now that we asked them to be vocal about this because we know, and I can't say it enough, we know if our local elected officials, let me just say this again, if our local elected officials speak out against this Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner's team, Live Work, coming in to try and buy our mall and make clear this ain't going down, they will leave. They will leave
Come
because it's what
on.
happened before. It's why CIM Group backed out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was community pressure, but it was also political pressure.
Wow.
Before that, it was another team, Hackman DJM, that attempted to buy the mall. They backed out both because of community pressure and the council office refused to meet with them, right? And
Wow.
so now we've been able to see Holly Mitchell say, let's make this happen. Herb Weston say, we want to see this team in line, that I don't support any Donald Trump coming in to control a black community. We've even
Okay.
seen Mark Ridley Thomas, who you know is a consummate politician, is always maneuvering, come out and say that he has tweeted 40 acres in a mall, which is
I
our
like
hashtag,
that.
and
40
that we
acres
need
in the
to make
mall.
sure that the community, that the people in control hold the value and vision of our community. But we got to talk about our brother Marquise Harris Dawson, sister.
Call
I
in,
am
Marquise. Council member
Mark.
Marquise, call in. Go ahead, Damien.
Yeah, Colin. Grandmamas were at his house this morning, sister. I don't know if I shared that with you
What happened?
because we had a dozen grandmothers carrying roses to his house, demanding that he come out and speak
Oh,
to him. He refused
wow.
to come out. We knew he was there because his house was there. It's all up on Instagram. We're on Instagram at Downtown Crenshaw, and we're on on Facebook at Downtown Crenshaw, and we're on Twitter at DT Crenshaw. Go ahead, look at the video yourself. We had 12 grandmothers literally in their canes, out there weathering to go to his house because he has refused to meet with the development team at Downtown Crenshaw. He's tried to minimize this project and make it seem like it's just myself and a couple other individuals and not this all-star development team. And he is actually, we are hearing from his office, they're actually saying, well, Jared Kushner wasn't that bad before. And we're like, are you serious? Can you say that a little bit louder? You're really about to let Jared Kushner's business partners and Jared Kushner come in here through a back door to control the most critical black commercial asset in the city and thereby one of the most important in the world, and in your council district, there's only two responses as I see it, sister. When Jared Kushner's business partners want to come in and buy the most critical Black asset in the community and engage in a process of taking over the Black community. No and hell no. And if you can't say that, if you can't find your voice to speak out against that, I'm sorry, sister. Why are you in office? Why are you in office? I mean, if you can't get out there saying that we can't have a white supremacist in the White House while letting him be in your back house, right? That don't make no sense. Help me understand this. Yeah. And so we had some grandmamas this morning bearing roses, go to his house.
Somebody sent me a picture.
And demand he speak out. How's that, sister?
I'm sorry to say it over. You were talking. My apologies. I said, "Oh, somebody send me a picture."
Oh yeah, wow. It's all on Instagram right now. We got a whole bunch of we have a whole lot of pictures.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and these are, I mean, and I just want to, and we're going to be on Instagram Live tonight. Some of the sisters who were with us this morning, the grandmothers, I should say grandmothers, my elders.
That's right.
Go on Instagram Live on downtown Crenshaw, and you know they were homeowners in View Park, homeowners in Hyde Park, renters in Baldwin Hills Estates, renters in Baldwin Village. Homeowners in Hyde Park that had to take reverse mortgages or they were going to lose their house. Yeah. You know, this was the real cross section of his community, his constituents, and whatnot. And what we're seeing, though, is that he thinks that he can hide behind a few voices, misguided voices of homeowners who don't care about gentrification, don't understand it. I don't know which it is. Right. And not recognize this amazing wave of community support. And I think he's banking on these guys closing the deal before they figure it out. But we're smarter than that. I mean, I don't like saying it, sister, but his quote so far has been, I can't interfere with the private sale. This ain't like Sister Charlene selling, Sister Muhammad selling her house to me.
Yeah, this is not that.
This is the most critical issue in asset in the Black community, right? I mean, you have a voice. Other elected officials have spoken out. And he needs to speak out. And if he's not speaking out, he needs to explain himself.
I've asked him, well, I've gone here, but I will call his office. Just, I mean, this is a program talk show. This is different than another thing. But I will ask him to come on or call in or come on. I did put it in the chat, but I know I need to put a formal question in to him. But go ahead, Brother Damien, because I want to know. A lot of things are happening and we have gatekeepers. And so I want to know from him.
Well, I mean, in so many respects, I like that you mentioned gatekeepers. Yeah, they have hired this Ken Lombard, who, if you actually pull back and talk to anybody in development that knows Ken Lombard, you know that he don't care anything about community and hasn't. Came in all the way out from Ventura County to basically be the Novocaine. You know, Malcolm talks about the Novocaine, right? And that's use in our community to try and quiet the voices.
You said
and it's very unfortunate. I'm sorry?
Ken or Kim?
Ken, K-E-N.
That's
Ken
the
Lombard.
brother that worked with Magic before when Starbucks was very first coming into.
Here's what I tell people.
If
you have a close personal relationship with Magic to where he'll really talk to you, just ask him about Ken Lombard. Just ask him.
Oh, wow.
Ask anybody in the development world about Ken Lombard, and you'll get a very different picture than the public relations picture he's painted for himself. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, well, I got you. You have a call, actually. Let's take a call. We have a call. Yes.
Yes. Greetings. This is Sister Amina Muhammad from Queen Amina's Clothing.
Oh, sound like I'm Queen.
Walaikum salam. I want to thank you for having this Damien on your show. This is awesome information. I had two questions. One, Damien, how does this affect the small businesses in the Leimert Park community? And also, what can the community do to help you with this movement?
Wonderful.
Help us, Sister Queen Amina's got to get in there first off. Give her some business right now. We need to be supporting all Black businesses right now.
Yes, yes. Oh, and by the way, my book is in Queen Amina's.
There we go.
Signed copies of Pumps on the Ground there at Queen Amina's. But go ahead. Let me not disrupt
I
this
mean,
conversation.
and the sister and Queen Amina, I'm not trying to put your business out there, but I think is the best example given it's on deck. Not all skin folk is kinfolk, right?
No.
We do have a lot of Black people who are well positioned within our community that end up acquiring our property and not necessarily doing our tenants right. And we got people like Ken Lombard in our community that understand where these cracks exist, and they come in and exist to widen those cracks so that our working class and low income residents, our merchants that are on the margins end up getting harmed, right? And we've kind of like taken the approach that we want everybody coming together. We want to heal those divisions. We want everyone at a table, right? Because these folks don't come in. You can see by the work of the Kushners, by the works of both CIM locally and the Kushners in places like Brooklyn. They don't just come in and buy a asset. They come in and try and take over communities, right? They try and profit off of it, right? Because it's catalytic here, right? And it builds and increases property values all around it. So they're trying to come for Leimert Park Village. They're coming for Crenshaw. This is not like theoretical, right? And so the first people that are going to be pushed out, especially those many businesses that are in the mall, Malik's, the sisters that run the amazing cupcake shop. I love me some cupcakes. Them cupcakes. I mean, they got that sweet potato cupcake. Woo! Southern Girl Desserts.
That's right.
If you're not catering to the gentry, the more affluent white folks, they're gonna want you out. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's not just going to push people out, not just going to push those merchants out that are in the mall and around the mall. It's going to push the people that make up the community out as the gentry comes in. This is as clear as day. It's happened before. This is not theoretical. In fact, we're going to want to bring in our future meetings some of the folk from Brooklyn. And so we need people to, number one, patronize every Black business you can right now. In fact, if you don't spend we need to do that because I know you're hurting. You're hurting right now. And number two, stand up for Black businesses as they fight against these landlords. I don't care what color they are. If they're having difficulty for merchants, they're not working with them. They deserve to have leases, long-term leases. They are staples in our community. We built this community, and we deserve to stay from them. And then number three, we just got to, and I mean, it's unfortunate that we had the grandmamas, and mind you, this came from the community. They said, we need to go to his house. I said, okay, fine. Brother don't want to meet with us. Go ahead now. Wake him up. Send some roses. We have grandmama's sister. We have grandmamas at Marquis' house's door, and he's afraid to come out and talk to them and explain why he says that he's just going to stand by and stay back. I forget what Donald Trump said.
Stand back and stand by.
Exactly.
That's what he told
while he lets these folk come in. I mean, it's very disappointing. And I've known the brother for a very long time, going back to where he was at Coco. I think when people elected him to office and reelected him to office, they were expecting that he would use his voice, especially since he is the chairman of the Planning, Land Use, and Management Committee for the entire city of Los Angeles. We put Black faces in high places. But do they use that power to defend Black people? That's the question. I think this is a key example of why we can't just assume that just because you've got a Black face in a high place that you can rely on them.
Very good question. Well, we're going to need to wrap up. What I want to do. Queen Amina, thank you for calling in. And thanks for being such a long, steadfast. I mean, I know business ownership is hard, but you do it and you make it look good, Queen.
She does.
She makes it look good. Thank you, sister.
Thank both of you.
Praise be. Brother Damien, I'm going to need to take off in 5 minutes. I just want to give one reminder. Stay right there, Damien. One reminder, Pumps on the Ground, my first and newest book, Trench Work and Analysis, Police and Street Violence. You can get a copy right now. You can walk into Queen Amina's on Degnan, and also you can order it at liberatedsisters.com. Brother Damien, let me let you have the last. Let me make announcements, and I want to get your last closing remark. Okay, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. So you all have the town hall on Saturday. Also, he's going to be doing my show, God willing, Liberated Sisters, this Saturday at 8 a.m. this Saturday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll have more of the dialogue and take some of your questions. But this Saturday, 12 to 2, no, that's not happening. That was last
Yeah,
Saturday. There's something coming up on
Thursday.
Sunday.
Right. On Thursday,
Announce that.
we're going to have a debrief meeting because this cat Asher of Live Work is coming in. We're going to have a debrief meeting starting at 8 o'clock, and we'll put that on our website. It's not up yet right now. But then on Sunday, we are having a major event in partnership with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles at our Crenshaw Mall. We're going to have a Get Out the Vote drive and demand that our mall stay in community hands. That's going to be at noon on Sunday, November 1. We want you might even see some big celebrities show up. We're working on that. But this has got to be a large action. If we want this, if we expect, I mean, our ancestors are looking at us. My great great grandparents did not come to South Central over 100 years ago to let us just lay down and see the legacy in which they established in this city that was founded by a majority of Mexicans that were of African descent.
That's right.
They were not. We don't. I don't stand here with their blood running through my veins, telling us we should just back out and let these Kushners and this Trump and these folks take over. No, if we want this mall, we got to show up. We got to show out and call your council member 213-473-7008.
What's
I
that
think
number
that's the number.
again?
I'll confirm it.
Wait, I want to post it here because I'm asking people to really engage. Let's have it again. 213.
213-473-7008. He is on Twitter at MHDCD8. Let him know that there's only one position here. He needs to speak out and use his voice, use his authority. And if he actually uses the voice that the voters of the 8th District gave him, they will back away and we will have our Black space for our future. There will be Black people in LA's future if he uses his voice. And you got to continue using your voice, sister. I appreciate you opening up these many yes. These many avenues and spaces. Our activist journalists want to know what's going down. Any and every time we will have myself or somebody else here
Wonderful.
to update and be part of this process of liberating our sisters, liberating our brothers, liberating our community.
We must do it. We must do it. Why don't you have someone or yourself, you can come on weekly, and let's do dedicate 10 or so minutes to this, fold it right into the Justice Report so that we can have that. And I really do, because we're talking about Brother Marquise, and we've heard from you because I asked you what is his position. If anyone that's listening that may have his ear, ask him if he would come on. I will ask myself, but sometimes you have to go different routes, and but just let him know that we would like to hear as well from his own mouth what the position is. But maybe Brother Damien has it wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's the piece, right? It wasn't just one. This guy is unqualified, and there were multiple Black teams, and they're not even following the standards they established, right? That Ken Lombard said. He said there will be minority participation. I hate that term because we're the majority of the planet,
Exactly.
but still,
So-called minority.
minority. That's not there. And then we don't know who this DFH Partners is. They didn't even have a website at the beginning of this month, right? We are getting a lot of very troubling news about where their money is coming from, talking about dark money. And
That's what they do. They do, those enemies of our Black state.
and tell us that we're supposed to stand down and let this just go through. I'm sorry.
It's a playbook. As we have,
Exactly.
we round out our show, right, Brother Damien? It's a playbook. It's like with the protests. Cops in Philadelphia, did you see the tape? Just shot Walter Wallace Jr. His mother was trying to grab
the
him.
street.
He walked those cops around a car, but they could have charged him. They could have done a lot of different things, but everything is coming out now the same way. You could take George Floyd, you could take Ezell Ford, you could take all of the protests and lay them over what's happening in Philadelphia and almost write the script because the people are not playing with news media out there. And I'm a member of the media, the Black press, but I'm telling you, they are not having themselves filmed as a protest. The word is reportedly they stopped an NBC van. We do see, I saw what looked to be like a suspect white police van, just have the word police on a big white van, very outdated van sitting there that was torched. We saw that go down here with the cars being planted and people actually calling out, going through registration, looking at different things. You know, Black people are not falling for it. And you said it, it's a new day. You said it's a new day just now at the top of the show. So take another 10 seconds and we're out of here. We have to go. I want to be respectful of Felicia's time.
We want to get to 20,000 petition signatures. We're currently at 13,500. DowntownCrenshaw.com, right? And we're asking all Black people everywhere, all allies everywhere, become a member. Put your $5 on it. I spent $5 going to Krispy Kreme this morning. You know you got $5.
I think I dropped $5 in the purse somewhere.
To be part of this transformative movement of Black people coming together to take control of their space, define their future. We're doing it at Downtown Crenshaw. It's been called the most transformative project in South LA history. We want everyone to be a part of this. And hit up Councilmember Harris Dawson so you can hear the ridiculousness coming out of his mouth yourself and tell him he need to get right or he can get to packing.
Get right or get left. All right. Brother Damien, thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in. I just want to say real quick, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and I want to give a great shout out to Sister Monique Bacon, my dear sister friend, for all that she does. The National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Los Angeles chapter, is having tonight, 6:30. This is the 27th, right? Yeah. Tonight at 6:30, a virtual meeting of the candidates. Now, this is a nonpartisan event. To register, go to candidatesforum.eventbrite.com, candidatesforum.eventbrite.com. Thank you so much, Sister Felicia, the Poetess Morris. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying, order my book. Oh, thank you to those who ordered this week. They will be shipping out ASAP. If it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.